So not too long ago, I did a concept on how I feel the Death Angels could work in Dead by Daylight. But after looking at that concept again, there is some ideas that I feel I should have added to the concept. Ideas that y'all had that I felt were great. And these are overall ideas I feel that would make the Death Angel a much better killer if this were the real thing. And I'll explain and go over why I feel that's the case. Now, I will be going over the power again briefly. I'll tell you the brief part about it in my old video, but I'll explain the ideas that have gotten added. But if you missed my original concept video and you're just now clicking on this one, basically the idea of Death Angel is for Death Angel to be a killer that focuses primarily on tracking, speed, range, and destruction, and is a forever spirit in a way. With a built-in Strider and Deerstalker, the Death Angel cannot see survivors whatsoever and has to rely on echolocation, except where there's stuff in the power where the auras may be revealed, or if the Death Angel is maybe carrying perks that reveals the aura for it. In the video, I also said that I believe that the Death Angel would play pretty closely to these selected killers, that being Spirit, Demo, Singularity, Blight, Hag, and now Dracula. Well, to be fair, it's always been Dracula, I just didn't say Dracula, but you get my drift. So what I added to the Death Angel as a base is that the Death Angel now has base Unrelenting. Since the Death Angel is a fully blind killer, which is a challenge in itself and could be really hard, I feel it will only be fair for it to be the only killer that has base Unrelenting. The Death Angel has to fully depend on tactics of echolocation to hunt down survivors, so some attacks may not always accurately land. Now, when the Death Angel misses an attack, it can almost immediately follow up with another attack to ensure a successful attack. Also, if a survivor sprints or makes any loud sound notification, Killer Instinct will be revealed to the Death Angel for a brief period. Okay, so there is a handful of things that added to Ultra Hearing, including a new Sired ability, but I definitely got this idea with the suggestions of some viewers. So when it comes to Ultra Instinct, the Death Angel can now passively detect survivors' footprints intermittently from within a 48-meter range, similar to how a Xenomorph can see survivors' footprints while in tunnels. No matter if that survivor has light-footed or any perk to hinder the sound of movement, footprints will always be revealed to the Death Angel. So if any survivor was to be within 48 meters of the Death Angel, they must either crouch walk or stand still in order for their footprints to not get revealed. By intermittently, I mean that every 3 seconds, the Death Angel can see survivors' footprints for 3 seconds. So the footprints will fade in and fade out. However, just because the Death Angel can see survivors' footprints doesn't mean that those survivors could get marked. Survivors have to deliberately make a sound in order to get marked. So, the power, Ultra Hearing. When it comes to Ultra Hearing, the Death Angel can hear any sound from a much longer radius anywhere on the map from where it's currently standing for 10 seconds, but for a cooldown of 10 seconds. While in this phase, the current volume decreases in order for the Death Angel to hear whatever it needs to hear in the distance. When Death Angel uses Ultra Hearing, Death Angel must hold the ability button and manually scan the environment whenever it chooses to listen from a distance. This process will work extremely similar to Cook's ability from the TCM game, except Death Angel can hear the sound perfectly in the distance from where it's exactly scanning from. Like, it can literally hear any possible movement the survivors may make against the environment, objects, or other survivors, such as survivors moving on grass, sprinting, vaulting, even slow vaulting, dropping from a tall height, or any possible interactions. Mostly everything except gen progression, because I feel that would technically be cheating. I can only imagine a 3-gen scenario where the Death Angel is technically waiting to listen for gen progression, and then as soon as they hear gen progression, they just run over to the gen. Okay, so for Ultra Hearing specifically, Ultra Hearing now has a scanning mode. So this mode is meant for the Death Angel to manually scan the environment to potentially get a mark on a survivor or mark its surroundings. This part didn't really change, but you will start to see how this changes as I move on with what I'm about to say. So how exactly this will work is that once the scanning prompt is triggered, right, the Death Angel would remain stationary, enter third person POV, and has to manually navigate a cursor in order to get a mark on anything. In the original concept, I didn't make it clear as to how exactly the scanning will work, and I didn't add a third person mode. Cause I can only imagine in first person mode that would be so jank and it would be so disorienting for you to keep spinning around in circles, having to get a lock on a survivor in first person, just like how the cook does in TCM. Like exactly with the cook's concept in first person, I can see that being a bit disorienting. But something quote unquote to scan like that would come soon in what I'm about to say. When Ultra Hearing is activated, the Death Angel can automatically hear anything from a 60-degree cone of vision. This means anywhere the Death Angel is facing while not being in scanning mode would be heard. However, just because something is heard doesn't mean it can be marked. Like I stated in the original concept, the Death Angel can hear everything when it's in Ultra Hearing. In this case though, instead of the Death Angel having to scan the environment in scanning mode to hear anything, it could just hear anything it's facing from a 60-degree cone of vision. This means anything it's facing from its field of view, it can hear, and you no longer have to be in scanning mode to actually hear from a distance. Ultra Hearing can now detect the sound of skill checks on the generator while in scanning mode. If a skill check is heard, the Death Angel can activate Rapid Dash. On top of the Death Angel being able to hear everything from a distance while using Ultra Hearing, the Death Angel can also detect survivors' heartbeats for a brief second once Ultra Hearing is triggered. Exactly how this will work is that once Ultra Hearing is activated, any survivor within the 10-meter range will have their heartbeat faintly revealed for 5 seconds. It's just up to the Death Angel to skim the environment and catch the heartbeat. This is what I was talking about when I was talking about scanning quote unquote the environment. The Death Angel can now skim the environment to catch a heartbeat if it's within 10 meters of a survivor. This also came from the suggestion of a viewer. By faintly, I mean it blinks pretty consistently to get the Death Angel's attention. Think about it almost like Rainbow Six Siege Pulse, the operator. This is to assist the Death Angel in thoroughly tracking down whoever is within proximity. Adding this, I feel, will be a handy sense of echolocation, not only since the Death Angel is a fully blind killer, but you will see what I'm talking about as I move on. Ultra Hearing now has a duration of 8 seconds and is on a cooldown for 8 seconds after usage. If Ultra Hearing was to get cancelled by the Death Angel mid-usage, the ability will go on cooldown for as long as it's been used for. So if the Death Angel was to use Ultra Hearing for only 3 seconds to maybe pick up on the quick heartbeat on a survivor, it will only be on cooldown for 3 seconds before it can be used again. Also, while Ultra Hearing is being used and is not in scanning mode, the Death Angel moves at base speed, can perform basic attacks, and can perform rapid lunge. Now, while using Ultra Hearing, the Death Angel can mark certain areas of the map, such as windows, pallets, chests, exit gates, and totem locations, or survivors themselves. Windows, pallets, chests, exit gates, and totems are marked in blue aura for 5 seconds. Survivors' auras are marked in red aura for 7 seconds. The Death Angel must navigate and hold Ultra Hearing in the location it hears activity long enough, I would say about 3 seconds, in order to lock on the mark of death. So you see how when cooking TCM, he has to kind of hold the ability before he's able to really mark them? Something like that. Just like that, actually. The longer the Death Angel hears that sound, it could definitely mark the sound. Or that survivor, I should say. Windows, pallets, chests, exit gates, and totems can be insta-marked. I will explain why these could be insta-marked in a second, and it will all make sense down the line. But the survivor is responsible for a certain sound that they make. That survivor is at risk of being marked. Survivors will be given the faint sound warning for 1.5 seconds when the Death Angel is scanning in their direction with Ultra Hearing, notifying survivors that the Death Angel is listening. The Death Angel must have Ultra Hearing scanning mode activated in order to mark survivors. I added this just to make it clear that in scanning mode, that's the only way you're technically able to mark. Since you're not completely stationary in Ultra Hearing anymore and you could actually move around and attack survivors during Ultra Hearing, since you would basically hear anything within your 60-degree cone of vision, anything from a distance, by you activating scanning mode, that's you basically getting ready to activate your Rapid Dash. But the only way to use your Rapid Dash is if you mark something. So the only way to mark something is by going in scanning mode and you manually having to mark what you want to mark. The Death Angel can now mark generators for 5 seconds. Generators will be marked in blue aura. So now when you mark a generator, you can actually Rapid Dash to the generator too. Not saying you couldn't Rapid Dash to the generator to begin with, because it's not like if your Rapid Dash is automatic, meaning you have to go to that generator. Rapid Dash is just prompted. It's like the Hag, or a Phantasm Trap, I should say. So once you get the prompt for it, you could just press it to activate it, and then the Death Angel winds up going extremely fast, like the Blight. You can just use gens, pallets, windows. You can use those interactions to help you get your Rapid Dash when you just want to transverse for speed. Anytime anything is marked by the Death Angel, the Death Angel has a 5-second activation time limit to activate Rapid Dash. Similar to how when a Phantasm trap is activated, Hag can teleport to the trap. In this case, the Death Angel would sprint at a very high speed, close if not very similar to Blight's rush speed, without having limited turning angles, meaning Death Angel can just sprint freely. This is why when it can mark certain things like windows or pallets, it's easier transportation for the Death Angel could get from point A to point B, without having to mark a survivor. During the Rapid Dash phase, anything the Death Angel runs into, such as a drop pallet or breakable wall, would instantly break, with only a 2.5 second hinder delay for the Death Angel, similar to Singularity's overclock mode. If the Death Angel does run into a drop pallet, even if a pallet is dropped on it during Rapid Dash or breakable wall, Rapid Dash would immediately end. While the Death Angel runs into a window while Rapid Dash is active, the Death Angel would immediately pounce over the window, ending Rapid Dash in the process. If the Death Angel receives any sound notification, except unhooking, from outside a 16-meter radius, Rapid Dash can be immediately activated without having to use Mark of Death. Rapid Dash has a duration of 10 seconds when activated. When Rapid Dash ends, the Death Angel suffers a short cooldown of 2 seconds. If the Death Angel collides with a survivor during Rapid Dash, that survivor would be sent flying and has to hit collision in order to become injured and or end up in a dying state. Basically, just like Wesker's Bound, if survivors come face to face against the Death Angel's dash, they will be sent flying. However, once a survivor is hit with the dash, the ability ends immediately and the Death Angel enters a 3-second cooldown. This suggestion I got from a viewer and I loved, and I don't know why I didn't put this in the original concept. This will be a hilarious and beautiful idea for the Death Angel. When specifically facing the Death Angel, survivors are given an ability to endure pain. The purpose of this ability is to keep quiet while injured or deep wounded for a certain amount of time. Basically a free Iron Will ability. This ability becomes active to use only when a survivor has become injured, otherwise it's unavailable. When a survivor activates Endure Pain, the ability lasts for 30 seconds. After usage, the ability is then on a cooldown for 30 seconds. The ability timer comes to a pause only when healing a fellow survivor, healing yourself, or working on a generator. After the interactions are finished, the timer for the ability then resumes again. The Death Angel can charge and activate Rapid Lunge anytime it wants to. The lunge will be an extremely similar lunge to Demo with a bit of a twist. Since the Death Angel is completely blind to survivors, meaning the Death Angel can't see survivors at all, anytime the Death Angel charges the lunge from within a 12-meter radius, Killer Instinct would be revealed to the Death Angel for survivors within that radius. So instead of just revealing the aura, which I feel would be kinda lame, it would have echolocation within that state of charging the lunge. So it will still have to technically predict where that survivor is at. Would be kinda hard considering you have to predict where the survivor is gonna turn, without actually seeing them anyway. Rapid Lunge can also break pallets and breakable walls on impact, with a short 2-second cooldown for the Death Angel. Okay, so remember how I mentioned the idea of the heartbeat detection being added, thanks to the suggestion of a viewer? So Rapid Lunge will not reveal Killer Instinct of nearby survivors to the Death Angel while charging it. The idea in my original concept was the fact that when the Death Angel charges its Rapid Lunge, it's not only using that to charge for an attack, it's basically using that as a sense of echolocation just to see who's around. I haven't stated this in the original concept, but that's why it's able to immediately cancel out its charge and attack immediately. So it could quickly sense out any survivor nearby through Killer Instinct and then cancel out and then attack, or even do a charge attack, since the Death Angel will suffer no cooldown whatsoever. But Killer Instinct got removed from Rapid Lunge only while charging it, since I feel the heartbeat idea is 10 times better. Now the lunge would still be exactly like Demo's lunge, instead more rapid like the name states. So when the Death Angel activates the lunge, it could continue the lunge up to 2 more times before the ability ends. The way this works is that if the Death Angel hits a successful lunge on a survivor or collision, the Death Angel gets Killer Instinct revealed to any survivors within 10 meters and can continue the lunge 2 more times with a 1.5 second cooldown in between each lunge. If a survivor is hit twice consecutively with the lunge, that lunge that should be putting them in a dying state would instead put them in deep wound. If a survivor is hit 3 consecutive times with the lunge, that will put them in the dying state. If a survivor was previously injured before getting hit with the lunge, then that will also put them into the dying state. After all 3 lunges have been consumed, Rapid Lunge will go on a cooldown of 10 seconds, and the Death Angel will suffer a 2.5 second cooldown. All survivors can each collect a portable radio shown in white aura on the map. There will only be exactly 4 radios for each survivor to collect. These radios let out a high sound frequency of 12 meters that will stun the Death Angel in place for 5 seconds. However, each time a radio is used from a survivor, that radio must be charged at a charging dock for 60 seconds before it can be used again. A charging dock will be highlighted in yellow aura once the radio is fully charged again. The usage of each radio is only powered 3 times its usage, meaning a survivor can only use their radio 3 times during the trial. All survivors can each collect sound jammers at stations around the map that will be highlighted in white aura. There will be 5 jammer stations around the map for a survivor to get a sound jammer from. Each station would consist of 2 sound jammers in total. When a sound jammer is collected, it can be placed on the ground. When a sound jammer is placed, all sound within the 25-meter radius of that jammer is muted from the Death Angel's POV, meaning the Death Angel cannot hear anything the survivors are doing while they are within that jammer, and their footprints are removed from the Death Angel's vision. Sound jammers remain in their set location until they are destroyed by the Death Angel. I saw a few comments stating how the portable radio could do something more beneficial for the survivors instead of just stunning the killer, which I had to agree with because the jammers just sound a lot more creative. I remember someone mentioning that the portable radios could actually silence the survivors' movements or something like that, and I thought that was a great idea. And why not have it for a killer like the Death Angel? Though that wasn't in the movie, but it's still gimmicky for a killer like the Death Angel. I could see them squeezing something like that in if the Death Angel did get in the game. But yeah, that's the revised, modified Death Angel that I feel should definitely be in the game, but it's not gonna happen. It's just way too controversial, honestly. Like, I feel like if they was to add a fully blind killer, then that probably means they have like no ideas for any other killers, bro. That's the only way how I could see a blind killer like that being added to the game, honestly. But let me know down below, would y'all love to see this in the game? If this was how the Death Angel would actually work in the game, let me know down below. Love y'all. Take care. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. And peace.